I think what those narratives could have done or what they could possibly represent is something that we know as human beings that will eventually happen. Maybe not in the near future, or we don't know, because as technology advances, it doubles in speed. There's a term that many, I want to say, many of the science fiction philosophers know about, but also a lot of the technological punks know about, and they call it the awakening. And basically, that's the next, what some people believe to be the next transition of humankind, human beings, ourselves. Basically, is when technology becomes infused with our own nature. And so, what happens is that what we used to know and believe to be humanity is now it's ceased to exist. We have now become a new being, and I think the whole idea of what we know and what we believe to be human beings disappearing has always been in our psyche. I mean, you could say that that's been apparent since forever. I mean, you could look at ancient times. Technology has always uh, changed human society and human nature, but it's not until really now when we've started learning specific things. I mean, how to tap into the human mind, how to fuse technology itself with our mind, and actually noticing the similarities between the brain and technology. It really changes humanity as itself, and I think we might have a subconscious fear to that. I mean, of course, being human beings, we naturally fear the unknown. We fear what's different, and we fear change naturally. It's a natural defense mechanism, and some of it's can be bad, but some of it's not without any merit. It's not illogical. I mean, it's a defense mechanism. But I believe that some of those narratives stem from that. I think some of it's possibly just been passed down through. There's specific terms for this, but it's been passed down through each culture in our DNA. This possible change, because if the evolution theory is correct, then that would mean that that the species before us suffered the same fate that we will eventually suffer in the next stage of humanity will happen, and we will become obsolete, and there will be a new stage of humanity, and we can say that we're actually humans, but really, if to be human, I mean, what exactly is it to be what we are anyway? And that question has been talked about in philosophical discussions since forever. But we do know certain things about us in particular that are different than our ancestors that were classified as different types of hominoid creatures. As far as my thoughts on the two contrasts, I think many zombie movies in the past have touched upon this. I forgot the director's name. Many people are gonna hate me for that, but if you watch some of his movies, he compares sometimes which what we consider humanity, the shopping mall, and we compare certain aspects of what we do in the human psyche, as as far as mindless shopping and buying things, allowing the media to influence who you are and what you think and what you should be doing, what's correct, etc. We refer to that way of thinking, or people who participate in that way of thinking, as zombies. And after pretty much really after the industrial revolution, this whole mechanized society has birthed a lot of that, what you would call zombie walking, or which you can say human beings have been participating in, that, and for the longest, the sheep mentality. But more specifically, and different than the sheep mentality, is the zombie mentality, which means mindless wandering, mindless, unconscious behavior, and then the things that you do and participate in. And so I think that's why there's a direct dichotomy or contrast when it comes to that, because here you have the apex of civilization, but what you consider the apex of civilization is a bunch of zombies. That's what the world consists of. At the apex of creativity, mechanized creativity, you have a bunch of zombie behavior. You know, I mean, look at what's on television now. What's considered to be amazing and creative. When some of the most creative people you might never hear of, but what's popular is what's out there, and what's out there is what people cling to. Pretty much like zombies. You're trained to, the way they teach in school is very much like zombie behavior. It's that's why I think those relations are always made. They have been made for a long time. But if you watch many zombie movies, you'll see that. So that's my thought as far as the contrast between those two natures. The Matrix quote by Agent Smith. I mean, many people have made that relation to human beings pretty much being like a virus in the way we act. I mean, of course, that's kind of disingenuous to what we are as human beings, at least as far as what we know and what we understand, and the creativity, at least what we think is creativity. To us, it appears very disingenuous to just say that we're viruses, because in our opinion and our understanding, viruses are not as conscious or not conscious, according to according to what they teach in biology. They're not conscious like we are. They continually self-replicate to survive, et cetera, et cetera. You have to read the definition of what a virus is and examine the different type of viruses to get an understanding. But we do things, in many cases, very similar to a virus. Even when we're being creative, we replicate that creativity. In a scary thought, what if we're just unconscious of our virus-like behavior? And an even scarier thought, what if everything really is pretty much like a virus? Because if you look at everything, to the smallest thing all the way up to the largest thing, it continually replicates what it is and what it does. And if there's more of it, if there are more things like particles or black holes or anything like that, those things continue. They there's a way that they're produced, and they produce something, and then they consume something. Or if they're not consuming something, they're producing itself, or it's finding a way to push itself into existence. To continually go around. It might not be seen as infecting anything, but it's finding a way to exist, to create itself into existence, which in a very philosophical aspect can be seen like a virus. So really, I mean, and another thing you could analyze from that is that what if we are just, and I might have said this in a different way, but what if we are just unconscious of our virus-like behavior? Because we look at a virus and we think, that looks ugly. Look at how it replicates. But I mean, what if everything really is that, and that its effects are just different? I mean, there are certain germs and diseases and whatnot that we're unaffected by. They're just there. I mean, we have germs and disease and bacteria that are symbiotic, like they just live within us and they cause us no harm, possibly because we evolved alongside those things. They have no effect on us, and they exist in their own ecosystem, within their own world, within our body. So the Matrix comment, I can't help but think of that, referring to this video. Many people have flocked to your videos, obviously because most of us find philosophical dialogue and discussions interesting. You can go down the list of why people have flocked to various philosophical videos or any video in general. But I'm, specifically pointing out this video. Many of us have flocked to this video, and regardless of the reason, us doing that can be seen very zombie-like, and we're at the apex right now in human civilization. At this point, this very moment in history, is the apex of human civilization. And we are flocking to a video altogether, zombie like, to participate in a very zombie like conversation. When I say zombie like, I say that because there are certain rules and regulations that we, I guess the word I use, that we transpose amongst each other. Like there's a certain way of talking that we know how to talk to different types of people, different groups of people, and there's a certain way that we, for some reason, have taught each other that we're supposed to participate in a dialogue when we're being philosophical. So it just kind of strikes me as funny that we do these things, and it's this type of these thoughts, they're nothing new, and they have existed and they forever will exist. And I think it has to do with pretty much, possibly, this is just hypothetical theory, but it could be possibly due to our subconscious uneasiness with the fact that there could be another stage of humanity approaching. The more advanced we become, it could be a way of us coping with the fear. It could be our subconscious warning us of things that we don't pay attention to. We could be more aware of things than what we think of. And right now, we know that the way we're headed in this civilization is very zombie-like. We feed upon things. We just constantly feed, and we exist to feed and take things, and then not really be creative. We don't really recognize real creativity that in itself is subjective. But the point is, that mentality has been here for a while, in my opinion, possibly because, especially more now than ever, that we are at the apex of human civilization, and in the apex of that, is the world better? Are things better? Will they ever be better? And there's a constant fear or threat of our existence itself. So these are just my preliminary thoughts on the issue. I might follow up with more details, or more concise details.